Hello and welcome. Michael here with Thirstone Properties. Here's another market update. This one's for November 2022. Just going to jump right in. The changes from last year, we're still really strong. It's still almost 8%. The median sales price, that is, from last year. It did actually drop from last month, 2.2%. So I feel like that's new. I don't think I've actually seen a price drop at all. I'm looking here. Yeah, October to November, I think, was the first actual medium sales price drop we've seen. Then this is for Duval County, St. Johns County, and Clay County. Those are the three counties I included here. Closed sales are down a pretty big amount, 45% from last year. It's not surprising. I kind of expected to see that. I didn't expect to see the drop off from October to November to be so high. But it's kind of seasonal too. Like this happens every year anyways. Like it does get a lot slower. November, December slows down, starts to pick back up in January. Then March really starts kind of like the season again. So it would be interesting to see what March shows us next year. And I feel like overall, all this is really telling me. And I work this market every single day, and it just kind of almost seems back to normal, honestly. At least as far as sales prices and all that, it just seems kind of stable. So it's not it's not a bad thing. It's actually kind of a welcoming thing, especially for us investors. Like we can kind of anticipate things a little easier now. Median days on market, things are definitely taking longer to sell. Still not that bad though, 43%. Before, I want to say like 3 years ago, I felt like it took maybe 60 days for things to sell. So again, like it's still really strong. That's up a lot from last year, but last year wasn't necessarily normal. So it's up from last month, 19.4%. Again, I don't think that's anything like alarming or anything like that. It's pretty typical. List price received down 2.8% from last year. I don't even think that's a big drop. I think that's actually pretty minor. They show 96.9%, and this is for the year. Are still receiving list price received, and this year was still still solid. So it's kind of expected, I suppose. Only down 0.4% from last month. This is the big change, I think, from last year. Like people were, over the whole, I would say since about 6 months ago, really, people aren't paying over asking anymore. I think that's done. And that number was very high a few months back. That was almost, I don't even remember, but it was a ridiculous number. But yeah, people just aren't overpaying for houses anymore. That's really the main difference. What was it at? Yeah, it was at 46% back in April that were paying over asking price. That's crazy. Down 9% from last month. I kind of expect that to even go down more, probably from November to December. All these numbers will probably actually be pretty similar from November to December. I expect them to be, anyways. Price per square foot over a year, I mean, it's up 11.5%. That's really good. That's a really really high number for 1 year. That's pretty unusual. Down 0.5% from last month, so not a huge change there. This is the big changes here. Pending sales, I mean, that kind of goes in hand with the closed sales. Those two numbers should always be pretty close together for the most part. Down 9.2% from last month. One number that's not on here too that I'm sure I could find out. I'm sure I could look it up, but the amount of things going in and out of contract, I bet that number is like way up from at least from like 3 months, the past 3 months. And just from my experience alone too, like as a buyer's agent, when I'm working with buyers, I noticed a lot more people backing out. A lot of people start getting cold feet. So I feel like that number would probably be pretty high right now as far as people going in and then canceling their contract. But again, I think give it another month or two, and it's just gonna kind of be like a normal market again. And I think we're already kind of almost there. Um, this number was a dramatic change, 100, almost 138% active inventory. That sounds like a lot, but really, this active inventory number is pretty normal, at least before the COVID rush. I feel like this market pretty much kind of hovered around that number all the time, anyways. So I don't. It looks like a big change, but it's kind of not. It's up from last month. Month supplies obviously way up, 340%. And I'll hop over here, but I think the story this is telling is, again, I know I've already said this, but we're just kind of getting back to normal. None of this is surprising to me. I think the big tell is going to be what March of 2023 is going to look like. And just popping over here, this is just kind of really reiterating what we've already covered. Duval County fell 2.1%. So, compared to 2.2, yeah, it's about the same. Okay. The biggest drop off was St. Johns County, but I feel like St. Johns was probably also the most inflated market at the same time. So that's where we're seeing that bigger drop off. If you were able to sell your house during that rush, congrats. You did well. You probably did well if you bought too, because interest rates were so low. I think it was just kind of one of those unique times in a real estate market where things are pretty much working out for everyone. So that was good reason for the rush, I suppose. But that's over. We're getting back to normal. And as always, feel free to email me, call me with any questions you have. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in.